everybody.
Hi. We'll get her up here. Here we go. As soon as Holly gets here, we will bring her right up. Make sure this is on.
Are you guys having the best time? In the dark dungeon, all together, exactly as horror people should be.
We were just talking about this earlier today, and since Holly isn't here, I will ask you very quickly. You made a short called Dawn in 2016. It played at Sundance. It was nominated for a grand jury prize for sure in the shorts category, and it's awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's online. You can find it. It's not strictly horror, but
it's psychological.
It's
really beautiful. It's set in 1961, and directing is something I really want to do more. Had to take a break to fight some dickheads. Might have heard.
And I will say, I mean, it's great. It really does feel like that first step towards something like bigger. And I realize talking about things that are upcoming is a dicey prospect right now, but this isn't like you don't have anything like.
I'm working on my second book. My first one was a top 5 New York Times bestseller, so I'm working on the second one.
Another memoir.
My stories of adventures living in Mexico, because I've had quite a few.
Okay.
I've had quite a few. Yeah, I live in a remote location in a fishing village of 500 people with 3G phone service. I know, like way back to 2006. Here we are, and happy to be here.
I just want to say, you just watching your journey over the last few years, you are one of the single bravest, like strongest warrior people I have ever just witnessed. And I do want to ask though. I mean, just based on what you have seen since you told your truth, and with people you've talked to, and just things you've experienced since then, are things getting better? Are they staying the same? Are they getting worse? Like, how? What
I
have you
think
sort of...
it was like throwing a hard pebble in a pond and seeing it skip. You know what I mean? It had reverberations around the world, and it wasn't. It was just mostly for just a cultural reset, just a change in thinking and how we approach what we can do to people or make them bear, and also just mostly that the shame is never yours in the first place. Give it back, put it on their doorstep, and leave. You know what I mean? Say bye-bye. But we're here to talk about happy things.
Yes.
Happy things.
I didn't want to dive too deep into charm stuff until Holly got here, but...
You can ask me some Scream stuff.
No, I will. I got that too. At the time when you made Scream, you were like working in a lot of indie stuff. So was this like the first big high profile thing you'd really gotten involved with?
Well, the first feature movie I did was called Doom Generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Which just got a great re-release, by the way.
4K. It got remastered on 4K.
I have a question.
What is your question?
Why is this so tall?
It's been so short all week. Here's Holly. Here we go.
Hi, Holly.
I thought she was going to say, why? I thought there was supposed to be another person up there.
Who was your favorite co-star?
Who was your favorite co-star?
She's just saying that because I'm sitting here.
That Doom Generation director's cut 4K restoration, we played it at the Music Box actually, and it's phenomenal.
Wow.
It's so
Is
good.
it beautiful?
Yeah, it looked great. It looked great.
Hi.
How's it going?
Everybody, you want to finish what you were saying, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, real quick. So it was like the first bigger production that I'd done that wasn't just kind of a lower budget indie but indies back then were like really cool, right?
Yeah.
Really cool, and had a lot of street cred. And so, it was my first time, I think it was my first time getting killed, and I think you might have heard of it. I think it was pretty iconic death that Tatum had. I think we nailed it.
And I don't care what any Kevin Smith movie says. You were the bomb in Phantoms. Anyway, okay. So let's dig in. Let's just start from the beginning here, Holly, since you're OG Charmed cast member. What do you remember? Like just when you were told the idea of the series, and or maybe you just got the pilot script or something like that. What do you remember responding to? What do you remember sort of being charmed by?
I did read the script and I liked it a lot. And it was different than anything that was going on at the time. And I also saw it in my friend's back seat. Actually, it was on the floor of her back seat.
That's right. Okay.
And I was like, "Did you read that one yet?" She goes, "No. It's a spelling production. I'm not going to read it."
Is that friend Shannon?
Yeah. I'm not going to read it. And I was like, "You should, because this one's kind of good." And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, just give it a shot. They wouldn't have sent it to you if they didn't want you, so let's just move past that part." And she did. She liked it. And she got it before I did.
Wow. Did you respond to? I mean, were the supernatural elements interesting to you, or was the sisterhood like?
Yeah, no, it was
important?
more the sisterhood
Yeah.
to me. I mean, at the point in that point in television, we couldn't really. I mean, we still didn't know what the visual effects would look like when we were doing it, so it was always a great surprise. But yeah, it was the family, it was the sisterhood, it was, 3 young women doing it for themselves and all the things.
Yeah. And then Rose, when you came in season 4, was there any hesitation? I mean, was there, because this was, I mean, what the point I was trying to make about the indie stuff and then doing Scream after that all came before this, and so you were kind of known as this badass, but this is like, sort of network television, and so this would have been like a different level of exposure and
Definitely.
pressure, and yeah.
It was, the first episode I was ever on, Paige goes through the journey of figuring out what magic is, what her powers are. I mean, that's the whole arc. And that was very much like me. The first day on set, they're like, "Okay, now you orb." And I'm like, "What is orbing?" I've never even, what? And it was very much my own experience mimicked Paige's. So that was pretty easy to play in a way. And also, I didn't really think, it's kind of like how when you get on a roller coaster, it's not until you're strapped in that you're like, "What did I just do to myself?" It was like that. I was like, I didn't really think it through, and then I didn't really think through what it would be like coming into an already set up family.
That's what I was going to ask next. Yeah, was that the vibe, and was Holly sort of instrumental in bringing you into the family?
Holly, I think, was going through her own stuff with, it was like a weird time on the set and for people, and then there comes me, and I just, made Paige very jolly, and I played her kind of like baby Lucille Ball, just real sweet and bumbling, and learning her own strengths, and we all just, here we are. Last night we
Are you going to tell people?
fell asleep in bed together watching Dateline after I tried to play her Black Mirror. She's like, "What is this?"
That's far too complicated for that.
So I was like,
late.
"Fine, I'll put on Dateline and we can go to sleep." We had a slumber party. We didn't realize our hotel rooms were literally, I hear this banging.
We're connected.
I didn't know that, and I hear this savage banging on my door, and I'm like, "Get away!" I thought it was just some hotel freak. And it was that hotel freak.
We have Dateline in common.
Yeah.
Both like going to sleep to Keith Morrison's soft lulling sound.
I know. It's
The
not
velvety-
normal.
And then you wake up in the middle of the night and it's like the 3 heads in the duffel bag.
I woke up and it was like the 2 prime suspects in the middle of the night on a dark country road, and I was like, "Ah!"
Were you, at that point, looking for more mainstream?
Me?
Yeah, just like more mainstream.
I explained it in my
eyes,
book.
or-
It's
okay.
trickier and more complex
Okay.
than that.
In the
My
speaking,
book is called Brave.
Brave, yes.
And you're saying I was brave. Thank you. My father's nickname for me was the Brave One. And I wasn't allowed to know that until after he died. He was like kind of like real obsessed with his kids not developing egos. Like, where would you, like, "Oh, I'm so brave. There's my ego." Weirdo. But after he passed, my sisters were like, he wanted you to know his nickname for you was always the Brave One. And so that's the name of my book, Brave.
Nice.
And the audiobook is like, I've noticed sometimes with my printed words, they can sound kind of intense, but when you hear me saying it, like I broke into my mother's house at Christmas one time, there's a backstory, and stole and pawned a bunch of Christmas presents, snuck into the dog flap, which served me well later in Scream. So But I'm laughing when I tell the story. But when you read the actual printed version, it sounds like I'm kind of mad. But in the book, I'm like, or in the audio, I'm like, smells like Christmas, fuckers.
Yeah, but in the book, you do lay out that you weren't always, it was not always a pleasant experience shooting Charm. But I also got a sense that maybe that was, a lot of that was, I mean, some of it was just like people were not being nice and people were, but then some of it was also like self-imposed pressure that you really wanted it to be successful. Like you wanted to be accepted.
I was told over and over the show, don't worry, the show's going to fail. You're just, to get it to like its last leg. And don't worry, no show ever comes back from a major cast change and fail, you're going to fail. And I'm like, fuck you. We're gonna win and we're gonna show up people we can do it, and we're sitting here today with all of you fabulous, awesome people, so I'd say that was successful.
You didn't think you were going to be there 5 years, and then,
No, I didn't.
And then having slumber parties with me 20 years later.
Wild times, man.
Wild.
All right, I'm gonna ask probably a question you've been asked many times. Do you have a favorite episode, or do you have a favorite story arc? Or
I like The Evil Enchantress. I don't know if that's the name of the episode, but I like when Paige turns evil, and I liked A Page from the Past, and I liked there's one called Charm Noir where I go back in time and it's like the 1930s and I got to sing Fever, and that was very cool. Like that.
That was a good one. Yeah, I like the Excalibur one because I never got to play with weapons. Like the supernatural guys like have a car full of weapons. Like I got like one sword, one time. One time.
I want to talk about a couple other sort of genre-oriented things that you guys have been in, and I would be remiss if I did not bring up Dr. Giggles.
Oh dear.
Holly Marie is in that.
He was a doctor.
He was. I was. Yes, terribly.
Just give me your best or worst Dr. Giggles story. I won't even ask specific.
Best or worst? Well, it's kind of the best and the worst. I was 18 or 19, and I was very brave and dumb. And I insisted on doing a lot of my own stunts. And one night, one of the producers were on set, and they were like, "Get the producer to craft service because she's gonna get hit by the car." And I did. I got hit by the car. I went up on the thing and then down on the thing, and yeah. So we were even hiding from the producers what I should have not been doing. So it was, it was a lot of fun. It was like action. I got to run. I got to fall.
Did you have to scream?
Many a time. And it's harder than you think.
Oh, I know. I've never been able to scream like how horror movie girls scream, or even in real life. I can't. I can yell, but I can't scream. And it wasn't until I was on the set of Scream that I pulled Wes aside, Wes Craven, and was like, "I just need to tell you, I can't scream." That's why when Tatum was dying. By the way, he was like, "What?" And I'm like, I have a block. I can't do it.
It's hard. It's hard. Like you have to let it all out, literally, and it's a weird thing, unless you're honestly like scared. But even then, I'm not really good at it. But I did do it, and I think everybody needs to do one bad horror movie in their career, and so I have succeeded.
And yet, I don't think I've been doing this convention 20-some years. I don't think I can walk that show floor and not see somebody with Dr. Giggles merchandise. So it's
having a moment. I don't know why.
I don't know if I don't know if the moment ever went away.
It's 30 years later, and I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I also realized you never, you don't know what someone's favorite movie is going to be. It could be your least favorite, and it could be their favorite. So you just really don't know. And
I had a great time, though. They gave me a cabin on a river and gave me a car. I didn't even have a driver's license. They didn't ask, so I just took it. Teaching yourself how to drive on Portland rainy roads is a really great idea. But I survived. So did everybody else. I didn't hit anybody.
Except for all the people Dr. Giggles killed.
Yes.
I imagine they did not survive.
No.
Did you get killed?
No.
You're a final girl.
I won.
Yeah.
Ooh. I won.
An esteemed company,
Is
yeah.
that what that means? Oh, I had no idea. I'm new at this. Maybe I need to do one
And
more
I
bad
will
one.
also add just really quickly, the poker scene in Ocean's 11 is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
It was weird.
and you're the only woman in the scene,
Yeah.
and you're the only one who's not an idiot in the scene, I think. Because who's not the only one playing an idiot, but yes, I just rewatched that again last night, and I'm like, that is one of the fun. When I saw that the first time, I'm like, I know exactly what's happening here, and this is genius. So anyway,
We had no idea what was happening there because we were told to ad-lib, among George's and Brad's lines,
Right.
scripted lines. So it's like, how do you interrupt those two? I couldn't. I was just watching.
and they're supposed to be there's supposed to be the unknowns in the scene too. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah. Can we talk a little bit about Planet Terror while you're here?
Cherry was a final girl.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
I got it.
PhD now.
Yeah, thank you.
The one thing about that that stood out to me after watching it a few times was that did you become like a hero to a certain degree of people who have like disabled people that I'm guessing most of them don't strap on a machine gun to their leg, but like it's just like it's such an empowering.
It really
moment.
is. I met someone today who's missing a limb and has a replacement, and he was wishing it was a gun. And I signed a limb, a prosthetic yesterday, and I actually volunteered for a while at Walter Reed Hospital in Washington D.C. And thank you. It was really intense and special, and there's a lot of people that have prosthetics that are really unique, but none as unique as that gun.
I'm going to ask one more question. We got a microphone right here if anyone wants to ask questions. We have about 10, 15 minutes for questions. Tell me about, because Holly, you have done 3 long stints on series television.
I know, don't tell anyone. It feels like I'm gonna get a clunker sometime soon.
Well,
The next one will suck.
Good luck, but not there yet. But I'm just wondering, can you talk about both of you talk about the pros and cons of that repetitive grind of series television, but there's also a stability there, not just like work financial stability, but just like you get to dig into these characters in a way you probably don't in films sometimes. So talk about sort of the if there's a dichotomy there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't usually get to spend 8 years with a character and have them go through that sort of transformation that normal people go through in life. The pro was I was really young enough to do it. And as I got older and I did Pretty Little Liars, and I had 3 kids at home. I had 3 kids, they were like 2.5 years apart, and so there was always babies running around, and I still wanted to be on a good show, but I couldn't be one of the top 4. I couldn't even be top 5, 6. So I think Ella was number 7 on the call sheet, and I was really okay with that because I got to be home with my kids for the most part when they were little, because when you do a show like Charmed,
You have no life.
you have no life. You miss a lot of holidays, you miss a lot of birthdays, you miss weddings, and sometimes you come up out of it and wonder if you have any friends left because you keep telling them you're going to call them back. But you live there, you eat, sleep, and breathe there. And then on weekends, often Friday nights will turn into Saturday mornings, so you only get a Sunday.
It doesn't really exist that much anymore, that kind
No.
of schedule.
I
Maybe
know,
on
they're
network
kind of-
TV still.
They're kind of cheating now, these shows that have 12 episodes. I'm like,
No, they have
what?
like 6 to 8, 12
It's like
or
a
something.
mini series. It's not even it.
We would do 22 to 23 a year, and 8 day. It would take 8 days to do one episode of Charmed, and it's like half a movie in 8 days by the clock. And so you're just, or watch the camera guy fall asleep on the camera. People
True.
turn gray. It was a really intense. Hour-longs were known as the hardest job in show business.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
If it was a small cast, yeah.
a lot of crew members will fall asleep driving home.
Yeah, there's been a lot of deaths in Hollywood related to people working on hour-long series. Yeah, because they just pass out at the wheel, after like a 20-hour day.
Yeah, basically, my kids had to come visit me. I'm like, no, you come to me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, question. You